What is shaking? And by the way, before we get to our first guest who's standing by, that clip of me shoving Kevin Johnson, it was pointed out to me that not 5 minutes later he dunked on me. So just to put it in perspective, or maybe he dunked on me before and I got mad and I shoved him. That's possible. When you're not as talented as the person you're going up against, you tend to get frustrated. But no frustration here as we talk to the foremost voice of college hoops. As we get into the tourney, everyone loves the tourney. My friend Jay Bilas. Jay, how you doing, my friend?
Tom, what do you say, man? If I got frustrated every time I got dunked on, I'd be in therapy. I don't I
Yeah,
don't have to
well,
worry
you
about
and you and me. Well, that's why I just knocked people over, knocked them on their ass. That's what worked for me. That was back in the day you could do that. I tried to explain to everybody like what it was back when we played, in that you knock someone down, it's just a foul. There's no flagrant, there's not, you just knock them on their ass and you move on. In fact, that was what your coaches used to tell you to do when they got tired of people driving to the hoop, knock them on their ass. Well, now you can't knock them on their ass anymore because if you breathe on somebody wrong, we got to go to the replay and make sure we get it right, don't we?
anything above the shoulders is an automatic view of the Zapruder film for
Yep.
hours and hours. But the game, it's weird you say that because, or interesting you say that because I've been saying that a long time. Like people thought that the game was so physical when we played it, and the only thing more physical was the flagrant foul part. Like, if you're going to foul
Yeah.
somebody, you got your money's worth. And now they're flagrant foul, so that has ended. So instead, now you clutch and grab all the time on cutters. I would have loved to have clutched and grabbed cutters
Yep.
back when we were playing because I was slower than everybody else.
Yep.
It would have been an equalizer. But
Yeah.
now now that's where the physical. Now the college game is way more physical than the game we play.
No doubt about it. We're and I've asked this question because to me, the NBA game and maybe even the college game to an extent, you would know better than I, is so 3 point centric now. And I understand it. It kind of started in the college game. It was a way for undermanned teams to be able to compete with more physically talented teams by trading three for two. And now it's just exploded, right? It's everywhere. The 3 pointer is incorporated in everyone's game. So much so that where the Celtics are shooting 48 threes a game, there's three teams that average over 43 pointers a game in the NBA. And I don't mind the three. I just think the risk reward has gone out of the shot. Like it used to be 33%, or what still does, math doesn't lie. 33 equals 50 for three. But now, if you're shooting 33, you're a poor 3 point shooter. A lot of guys are shooting 38, 39, a 40 and above. And these guys are there to shoot 4, 5, 6 a game. How do we combine like how we played and then that type of game where we bring back in the mid range and the low post game and all those things that we grew up with today's game, the 3 point shot? Is there any way to meld those two?
Not anymore, in my view. The difference is, so you're a little bit younger than me. I think your last year was what, 88 at Arizona?
Correct. I'm 59.
So when I graduated college in '86, the 3 point shot came into college basketball the next year. And the truth is nobody knew its value at the time. But
Yeah.
after 40 years of it, everybody's learned the value of it. So we used to, and your teams, my teams did the same thing. We'd work really hard to get a 15-footer.
Yeah.
But for my teams, that was a good shot because the further out you got, the lower percentage you shot, and there was no three. Now that the 3 point shot is an asymmetrical threat, so
Yeah.
it's spreading out defenses. So now the analytics prove that what you really want are shots at the rim, free throws, and open threes, especially corner threes if you can get them because they're a higher
Yep.
percentage shot and they're easier to rebound. So, I don't see these non-paint 2 point shots ever coming back in the game because they're just the expected shot value is low, and it's kind of like in baseball. Like I'm a huge baseball fan,
Yep.
so you have people saying, "Well, it's so much more interesting back when we were younger, when you had you knew somebody gets on first, they're going to be sacrificed over. You're gonna hit to the right side, hit behind the hitter, or you're going to bunt. The question was, are you going to bunt after he gets to second or before he gets to second? And people thought that was more interesting. Now pitchers don't go beyond 5 innings, starting pitchers. It's
Yeah.
all because of the analytics. They know that the deeper you get, starter gets in, the weaker his stuff is. and it all proves it. So, everything that's being done now is to win. So the last thing I'll say on this is, like, some people say, well, you watch an NBA game between two teams that are just outside the playoffs, some of the poorer teams, and they're jacking up threes and they're losing, and they'd be losing if they were getting to the rim. Like,
Yeah.
and people act like getting to the rim is so easy in the NBA. Just go to the rim. And there's not a bunch of long-armed, extraordinary athletes that are going to make that a difficult shot. I wish it worked that way, but if the teams now, this is my opinion, and I may be wrong here.
Yeah.
But if the teams now in the NBA played the teams of the 80s or 90s, the teams now would kick their ass.
Well, it depends on what rules you're playing by, Jay. I mean,
the
can
rules
you get
now,
out
the rules
and
now.
defend? Can you hand check players? Can you be as physical? Like I've always said this. You can't like when they always said who would win the 90s Bulls or the Warriors back when they had the dominant run. I'm like, well, what rules are we playing? I mean, how are we going to officiate the game? Can you get up and ride guys? Can you chuck guys? Can you bump guys? Can you make it more difficult on them? And that's why I always hate the comparison of comparing players, because I was like, you can't take like it particularly bothered me a couple months ago when JJ Redick said he compared like the guys that played in the 60s as plumbers and carpenters and stuff like that. And it really bothered me because I'm like, well, you can't say if you take Kevin Durant or whoever and put him in the 60s, he would kill everybody. Because of course he would. But Kevin Durant at that stage wouldn't have the travel he has, wouldn't have the nutrition he has, wouldn't be able to work out like he does because he wouldn't know any of that. I mean, it's so different. Like the guys back in the 60s would have all that information, and the great players would utilize that information, and they would be great. I just think the game has changed so much, and the eras are so different that if you're taking a team, like let's say you take the Lakers and move them to 2017, yeah, the Warriors would kick their ass. But I think if you take the Warriors and move them back to 84, the Lakers would probably kick their ass because none of those guys would have practiced that many three-point shots. So I don't know. I just think
you
the
move
eras
them
are
back,
so different.
So to that last point about moving the Warriors back there, I would say, you don't move them back there and say, okay, now all of a sudden you're gonna Steph Curry. You've never been in the weight room because they didn't lift weights back then. You'd put them what they are now versus that.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. Like I'm the same way about comparing players. Like I think it's a reductive exercise.
Yeah.
You wind up talking about Jordan versus LeBron, and you have to denigrate one to elevate the other. And when they're both all-time greats, it's just always interested me that in basketball in particular, and they may do it in other sports, but I don't hear it that often, that guys our age will act like some will act like the players were better back then. And they're not.
Yeah.
Some of them were. Like Michael Jordan would be the best player now. I get that. But generally, the players now are better than they've ever been. It's not close. And I always make this analogy. I always say, look, if the stopwatch had never been invented, guys our age would say that Mark Spitz swam faster than Michael Phelps. He didn't. Michael Phelps lapped him by time. And I get it. Like things get better, but the players weren't better back in the day. Generally, like the average player today is way better than the average player when we played. Way better.
I would agree with that.
That's natural.
Although I would say this, Jay, that a lot of people, when they say today's players are more skilled, I do take issue with that because I want to know what they mean by skill. Is it ball handling and shooting? Then sure, the today's players are way better. If we're talking mid-range game, post-ups, handling the ball inside a guarded traffic area, I think it's totally different. Again, we don't ask the players today to do what they did back then, and we didn't ask those players to do what they do now. So to me, that's why I have a hard time comparing, because we're asking. It doesn't mean they can't do it. When people say, "Oh, Jordan couldn't shoot threes," I'm like, no, he didn't shoot threes because that wasn't the game back then. Don't tell me Michael Jordan couldn't have shot threes and couldn't have been a really good 3-point shooter. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I do want to get to the tournament because I got to ask you this because you brought it up, and I think it's really interesting. You say analytics is basically the root cause of all this, especially in baseball and basketball, the changing of the game. And I've said the same thing you did, that look, if I'm the Warriors or the Dodgers or the Rockies or whoever. I'm trying to win. I'm not so much concerned with entertaining people. I want to win. That's my job. But as analytics come at the expense of entertainment is where I come at it from, because I'm not so sure the games that we watched weren't more entertaining because they were more diversified. They were asking players to do a little bit more. And again, I could be romanticizing stuff. I don't remember everybody bunting every time someone got on first base, Jay. I remember hitting runs occasionally, but as entertainment taking a hit because of analytics, and not that teams should care about entertainment. Their job is to win or you're going to get fired, but has it?
It depends on what you think is entertaining.
That's a good
like
point.
if you can watch the Warriors play now, I can't imagine you would choose watching the Warriors play in 1975 when they won the championship last before the championships.
Yeah,
There are more passes per possession now than there have ever been. There's more movement. There's more creativity. There's more cutting. There's all kind of stuff. Like you don't throw the ball in the post now and let Kareem go, on Nate Thurmond. It's a different deal now, and I think it's different, but there is some romanticizing of things, and that's what people do. I do the same thing. It may be a little bit off, but I as an analogy, but I spoke at the U.S. Junior Amateur Golf Tournament years ago, and it was at Shoal Creek in Alabama, and I went to the Players Center, and I sat next to Hubert Green, who won the U.S. Open in like 1971 or something. Tell him, I'm a weekend golfer, and I'm a decent stick. I'm a single-digit handicap, but I don't have a whole lot in common with one. So I asked him, like, Mr. Green, what do you think of these young players watching them play today? And the first thing he said, and he passed away. I hate to be negative on. I'm not negative on him. Just this was really jarring to me. He said, none of them know how to play. And he said all they do is bomb it down the fairway and wish it on the green putt. There's no creativity in what they do. And I'm thinking, well, half of them shot like 64. Like, what do you want them to do? Bring out an old persimmon driver and try to curve one around, like
hit it in the rough.
It's different, but these guys are super talented, and I think if you put the old clubs in their hands, they figure it out, and they play just as well as the guys did back in the day. I mean, I don't know what people find entertaining, but I love watching the NBA now, and I loved when I was a kid, but I think it's a better game overall now than it was then. And I always laugh about this when people, to your point about what rules and physicality, when people would say, "Oh, come on, man, you put Steph Curry in the '90s when they could hand check and clutch and grab, and they're chucking guys, you think he'd do the same things?" And I remember Steve, who you know way better than I do, going, I played in the '90s. Steve said, I played in the NBA in the '90s. It can be done for little guys. You think Curry? I could handle it? Steph Curry couldn't.
I'll give you a funny story because you spoke of the '75 Warriors, and I'll relate it to your golf story. Rick Barry, who's a really good golfer, and we'll let you know that he's a really good golfer.
I was just about to say, he'll tell you.
We were at Silverado during a fundraiser, and somebody asked him, was this a phone call? I think he was there. It could have been a phone call anyway. Somebody asked him, like Rick asked him, no, he asked Rick, how good a golfer are you? He goes, I'm around scratch, maybe the 1, 2, something like that. And Rick asked him, how good a golfer are you? And he goes, I'm an 8. Right? 8's pretty damn good golfer. Like most of us that play golf would love to be an 8. Rick looks at him and he says, why do you even play? What? Because one of the top 3% of all golfers playing. Why do you even play? You're just getting in my way. Oh, Rick was a beauty.
The PGA Tour players look down on the scratches. They go, why do you even play? My God, you're messing with par?
Get out of my way. You're taking my tee times. All right, I went about this a little bit differently because I didn't watch a lot of college hoops this year, but I watched enough, and I watched some of these teams. I want to pick who I think's going to come out of the region and then an upset in that region in the first round, like if you wanted to take an upset. So I'll start with the South. I took Michigan State to come out and I took I know it's kind of a trendy pick, but I took Yale over A&M, and the reason was I took offensive teams, and I figure if they can just get hot, they can maybe pull an upset. They were 13th in offensive efficiency in the country this year. What do you think of those two? Michigan State to come out and Yale to, if they can rebound halfway decent, upset A&M.
I like it. The only reason I didn't have Michigan State coming out of there is I think Auburn is the best team in that region, and having
Okay.
lost in the SEC tournament to Tennessee, I think they'll be a little saucy coming in. I love the Yale pick because the trendy pick right now is UC San Diego
Yep.
over Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one all of us talking heads are talking about because it's one's great story. But we're looking for these upsets, to try to give to people. And I keep reminding people, the trendy ones, the players on the Michigan team have ears, and they're going to hear
Yeah.
all this. And usually it's the one you're not talking about. But the Yale one I like a lot because Texas A&M doesn't shoot it great, but they can really offensive rebound. They can really muck the game up, and they can really force turnovers. But Yale's got this guy named John Poulikitis who had 28 last year against Auburn, and Bezem Bang's a really good player. Like, they're legit. They can beat somebody. I wouldn't pick them to go further than that, but I do like that pick.
Okay. I went to the West. This is a team I have winning it all, and I've seen them play. I've probably seen them play 4 times this year. I got Florida winning the whole thing. I just think, and watching them, they just seem like a really, really, really complete team. I kind of cheated. I took 2 in the Midwest because I took Oklahoma, although they didn't really fit my narrative of like a really great offensive team. I like their guards, but I took them over UConn. In my kind of the cutoff line for upset, they had to be at least a 3.5 point underdog, at least one possession. I hate when people come on and they go, "Oh, I'm gonna Colorado State's my upset pick." Yeah, they're favored. Okay,
They're
don't try to
favored.
pull that one over on me. I hate when people do that. So maybe I'll take 2 in the Midwest, but Oklahoma maybe getting 4.5. But what about Florida?
Florida's the best team in the tournament, in my view. I was just at the Southeastern Conference tournament, and they were every bit the team that I saw earlier in the year that I thought was going to be really hard to beat. They've got everything. They've got 4 legit big guys that when they rotate them through, you don't see a drop off, and they've got 5 good guards, 4 that are ridiculously good, and then one that comes in that can really shoot it. So I think they're the best team. Doesn't mean somebody can't clip them. They're in a region where it's going to be difficult. Like, I think I would have picked, if they were in any other region, I think I would have picked St. John's to go to the Final Four. But because they're in Florida's region, I think Florida would beat them. And then the other upset I see in there that again is getting a little trendy now is Drake taking on Missouri, because they can slow them down, and they're really good offensively. They can get to the rim. They can play half court. They're really good in the last 10 seconds of shot clock. And they've won like 28 games, like 28-3 or 29-3. So they're used to winning.
Everybody, trendy picks aren't even trendy anymore because everybody picks them now. It's almost like it's hard to find an upset pick that somebody hasn't already picked. Everybody wants to pick everybody 12s have been known for a while now, but now everybody wants the 13s and the 11s. And it's like, I can't even find any picks that somebody hasn't talked about, which upsets me a little bit. All right, coming out of what would it be? The East. I mean, I got to go Arizona. I'm not sure how completely sold I am in Arizona. I don't like the fact they can't shoot threes. Caleb Love competes his ass off, but his shot selection is, to put it kind, inconsistent. Vasar has been a big deal for them. Like, he's really helped. I just don't know that they shoot it well enough. I don't know if a team that can't shoot it can win a national championship, but I went there, so I'm going to pick them. And then my upset pick was Liberty over Oregon, another team that can shoot the ball. And I'm just picking teams that can shoot. I figure maybe they can get hot and win. I don't know that they will, but what do you think about Zona and Liberty as an upset pick?
I actually like the Arizona pick because at the bottom of that bracket are some teams that are a little banged up. Like Alabama, normally I would say Final Four good, and I think they are Final Four good. The problem is, Grant Nelson, one of their best players, is hurt. And he got hurt in the first half of their game. He'd been pretty banged up, but he hurt his knee in the first half of their game against Florida, and they were down 2 at half. In the second half without him, they got blown out. not that he's blowout important, but he's important for them to win. But Arizona's been getting significantly better over the course of the season, and if they wind up getting in a rematch with Duke, I kind of like the fact that Duke beat him in McHale and held him under 60 as a kind of splash in the face motivating factor. I hear you on the shooting and the shot selection, but the one thing that you know very well, the thing about Caleb Love is he can have some games where you're going, what? And then he has some other games where you're like, holy cow, is this dude ever going to miss? It's kind of feast or famine, but his feasts are pretty impressive. And so I do like them. I just think Duke, if Cooper Flagg is healthy, they have way too many weapons. And they're so good defensively. They're really hard to score upon because their help side is in really good position all the time. They got good athletes and they have a ton of size. And Cooper Flagg may be as good a defender as he is an offensive player, and he's player of the year good.
He's as good a prospect. I mean, I haven't really thought about this, Jay. I'm going back to LeBron. That's a long time ago, but he may be the best American prospect that I've seen in quite some time. He's just complete. Steve told me when he was coaching the Olympic team that he was part of the select team, and they played a scrimmage. And I go, "How is he?" He goes, "He's legit." He goes, "He's legit." And I've watched him play plenty this year. That dude's legit. Like, he's going to be, unless something goes off the rails, and I don't anticipate it, but you never know. That guy's going to be a star. You're right. Defensively, offensively, he passes. I mean, he rebounds. He affects the game. He's not a numbers guy. He knows how to play. Like, he's super talented, and he knows how to play the game. It's really fun to watch him.
He's built different too. Like, a lot of guys that are great players are great competitors, but there's another gear that some of these guys have. Like Jordan played against a bunch of great competitors, but I think everyone would agree his level of competitiveness was ratcheted up at a level that most people can't comprehend. And I'm not comparing him to Jordan. I'm not saying that, but this guy, he reminds me of Leitner in his competitive nature. Really a different cat in that regard, and he never turns it off. And that's unique. Like the play, you'll probably remember this play. It played all over SportsCenter. He got a steal and took it to the other end and dunked on Pittsburgh.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And it was a great play. But the thing that impressed me more than the play was right before that inbounds that he took away. And he took it away after the catch. He had committed his third foul, got called for his third foul. And a lot of guys, especially a freshman, they're going to back off a little bit after they get whistled for a foul like that, but not him. I mean, it was pretty extraordinary.
Does he enjoy being the heel as much as Leitner?
No. He does it like he has this little move, this little flex move after he does something, and he gave it back to the Carolina fans in the last Duke Carolina game, kind of like Leitner. But I think off the floor, he doesn't have the needle for other people that Leitner had. I was a grad assistant when Leitner played, and that dude could be a handful when he wanted to, and he was a different breed.
Him and Lane Beer are the two biggest heels and the guys that embellish being heels more than any other players I can remember. Like, some guys, they can take it. They don't necessarily love it. Those guys just relished it. They relished the fact that they were so good that you hated them, and that just fueled them so much. It cracked me up, actually. I mean, it didn't mean I liked them, but I hated Lane Beer too. I hated playing against Lane Beer because there's nothing worse, and people that played against Leitner when he was at Duke will know this. There's nothing worse getting your ass kicked by somebody and then having them step on you and smile at. It's just so degrading. It's like, God, I just want to punch you in the face is what I want to do, but you couldn't.
The only thing I didn't like about Lambeer was he went to Palos Verdes High School, which is our crosstown rival.
So, did he?
Yeah, he was a Sea King, even though I think his dad was like an executive at some big company that he wasn't born in California, but he went to high school in Southern California, and Palos Verdes and Rolling Hills were like blood rivals. So I've never been a PV fan.
Get in line, everyone. No one likes Bill Lambeer. Midwest. They got Houston coming out of the Midwest. I haven't watched them play a lot this year, Jay, a couple of times. they can shoot. I'm like, holy cow, Houston can shoot now. That I always know they're going to play defense, and I always know they're going to be junkyard dogs under Kelvin Sampson. But I was like, they got some dudes that can shoot. They're going to be a handful. And then I cherry picked. I got another upset in that round. I took Utah State over UCLA, getting 5.5. High Point over Purdue. Utah State 10th in offensive efficiency, and High Point 2nd in offensive efficiency. So again, that's my narrative. I'm going with the good offensive teams up to catch fire. But what do you think about Houston and those two upset picks?
Well, I have Houston in the Final Four as well, and I think you're right on that. The difference in their team this year, they've always been able to defend and rebound at a really high level, and I think they would have gone to the Final Four last year had Jamal Shed, their point guard and leader, not been injured in the first half against Duke. I think they would have beaten Duke and would have beaten NC State to go to the Final Four. But you're right; they shoot it way better. L.J. Cryer is their leading scorer, but Emmanuel Sharp has unbelievable range, and they got this. Point guard to transfer from Texas Tech, or excuse me, Oklahoma, Milos Uzan, who's really taken a huge step forward under Kelvin Sampson. I remember Kelvin saying we were in Houston recently, and we were asking about Uzan. He said when he first got here, he's kind of guarding in a weak fashion, and he stopped practice. His son, we foul here, like get out there and foul somebody. And I thought that was very Kelvin Sampson-esque. But I like your Utah State pick too, because that's what I have that one. Not to make it seem like that makes it right, but
yeah,
everybody's going with McNeese, and they did the same thing last year. They went with McNeese, and Gonzaga blew them out. And I'm not saying that Clemson's going to blow them out, but I think the more these things get talked about by all us national clowns. The more the other team hears it, and it's the ones like it's going to be like Lipscomb or Utah State or somebody like that wins because they're not being talked about.
Now I got to ask you about St. Mary's. Since they're in the area here, good friends with Randy Bennett. They're going up against the Vanderbilt Commodores. 3.5, I think 4-point favorites. So they're favored to win this game. They're just an interesting team. They play at their own pace. Marciulionis is really good. They got a big guy in Saxon in the middle who kind of controls, not super athletic, but he's good left hand, good right hand. Lewis is pretty, like they're just a solid team. He does a great job there. I haven't seen Vanderbilt play, so I don't really know what they're about. How do you see that matchup playing out?
Vanderbilt's good. So they're coached by a guy named Mark Byington, who was at James Madison last year when James Madison had that unbelievable year, and then they went into the tournament. They wound up losing to Duke. But he's a great coach. They've got very good players and a number of them. A couple of them, came with James Madison. They're got a couple of really good offensive rebounders. They got a little guard named Jason Edwards, who transferred in. He was a junior college kid and then transferred in from North Texas. And then their main point guard, Edwards, can do both. He's like an off guard, but he's tiny, but he can really score. AJ Hogard is their point guard who transferred in from Michigan State, so he knows how to win. I don't know that I would say I favor St. Mary's because I think if they played twice they'd split. The one thing about St. Mary's is they play at such a slow pace; they can really make it difficult on the other team that may want to play faster. But slower paced teams also keep the other team in the game. And so their margin of victory isn't that great. They just win a lot because they're really physical. They can really offensive rebound. And I like Augustus Marciulionis a lot. I don't know that they have a bunch of guys that can create their own shot, but they should probably win that game. What would be really interesting is if they played against Alabama. How would that style mesh with Alabama, who's going to come down and shoot it in the first 8 seconds of the shot clock? Because I know exactly what Nate Oates would say to his team. He's saying, "Hey, man, they can't be physical with what they can't catch. Let's go. Get the ball up and down the floor." And like he wants them to shoot it quick because the longer they pass it, the more they turn it over. He'd rather get a shot. He'd rather get a shot than watch them turn it over.
Solid strategy. Shots instead of turnovers. Always appreciated. All right, couple on the way out the door here. Your favorite non-basketball athlete from a fan standpoint, whether it's now or growing up?
When I was a kid, I was obsessed with Bjorn Borg. I thought he was the coolest dude to ever walk the planet, and I loved watching tennis back then. I was a huge tennis fan. But probably my favorite non-basketball athlete would be Sandy Koufax. Like I was a huge Dodger fan growing
Wow.
up, and I loved Koufax, even though I was really little when he quit. Just reading about him and got to meet him and all that stuff. I just for some reason he was the coolest dude.
All right, toughest loss you've endured as a sports fan.
As a sports fan,
Fan that hurt you the most, a team that you're rooting for that lost, that just ripped your heart out.
probably when I was a little kid and UCLA lost in the they lost in the Final Four at NC State in Greensboro. And when I was growing up, UCLA, when they lost, it was the equivalent of some natural
It,
disaster.
it
They
really
never
was.
lost, and you got this like weird feeling. I will tell you this: I learned about gambling through UCLA and through my coach when we were in. We used to take these trips to Vegas to play in these tournaments, and we were young. We were probably in fifth or sixth grade, and it was like our coach and then one of the dads were the chaperones. No other parents went.
Yeah.
And coach and the dad wanted to go out having a few beers, but they had to watch us. So our coach bet us that UCLA would win the game against this team, and he gave us 50 points. He said, "I'll give you 50 points." So we're sitting watching TV for two hours or so, and it's getting down to the end, and UCLA's up 49. And actually, a guy that grew up not far from where I grew up, Jimmy Spillane, made a layup at the end of the game to move it to 51. We didn't realize the game was on tape delay. Like they already knew the outcome, and they were out having beers, and they figured they'd be back by the end of the game. And it was fantastic. The game started like 10 o'clock at night. And we were up till midnight watching that damn game. And then that's how I learned about tape delay and gambling, because we got totally jobbed.
Oh, that's amazing. That is an amazing story. All right. Worst punishment you received as a kid, and what did you do to earn it?
The worst punishment was probably my mom making me weed an entire canyon hill, which was nothing but weeds, because I think I had skipped out of doing, I can't remember what I skipped out of. I skipped out of doing something that I told her I had already done. And my thing was, like, my mom she was great, but one of the things, she was really good at weaseling information out of you. So I would get home, and this was back when we were free range kids. I would get home after being
Yep.
out all day, like riding my bike or hanging out with my friends, and she would take this accusatory tone with me, saying, "Well, what did you do today?" And I'm thinking, all right, she knows what I did. She knows. And then I realized, all right, if she knows, I'm screwed anyway. So I might as well lie and just told her, no, nothing. Everything's good. If she already knew, I was done. I wasn't going to get
Yeah.
any more trouble by trying to protect myself. And then I found out she was just trying to get me to admit something that I had done, and she didn't know what it was. So,
Wow.
but she knew this one time, and then I spent like a weekend weeding a hill that was nothing but weeds. And then after I was done, the weeds were going to be back 3 days later anyway.
Oh man, that's rough. That is rough. All right, I'm gonna have you help me with this. This is a different bracket I'm gonna be doing later today. Actually, in about 5 minutes. It's called the SKI. This is a 16-team tournament, a 16-person tournament actually. SKI. It's the Serial Killer Invitational, and I want to know what you think of some of these matchups. Okay, I got 8-9. This is Zodiac and Jack the Ripper. So nobody found either of those two, so I thought I'd put them together. Who do you got in the 8-9?
Oh, Jack the Ripper. I mean,
Okay.
to stay on the run that long, and that means Sherlock Holmes couldn't figure it out.
No, not at all. Now this one, though, this one, I'll give you one more and see if you could get this one. Or who would you like in this one? This is a Robert Lee Yates, under the radar grocery bag killer. I'd never heard of him. And John Wayne Gacy That's a 4-13, by the way. Gacy's a 4 in this tourney. So who do you have there?
Yeah, nobody's upsetting John Wayne Gacy. He was, he was like the local neighbor everybody thought was a good guy, and
Yep.
meanwhile he was killing everybody and storing their bodies in different places.
Yeah,
This is a very intriguing game. Is Ted Bundy like the #1 overall seed?
No, the number 1's Jeffrey Dahmer.
Oh, yeah.
Bundy's a 2, and then Richard Ramirez, a Night Stalker, is a 3. So I'm gonna throw it out to the fans. We're gonna have a graphic and everything, and as you can see, Jay, I got my graphic, got a little blood on it and everything. And we're gonna try to clean it up, so to speak, a little bit. But I mean, there's only so much I could do with this. I've been threatening to do this for 20 years, and I actually sat down and did it. And I go, it's a lot darker than I thought it was.
You know what, Tom? I knew there was going to be some weird shit when I came on here. I did not expect the Serial Killer Invitational.
Well, I try to entertain, Jay. Hey, have a great enjoy the tourney. It's always fun catching up with you, and maybe we can do it again. The thing I love about you is, I mean, people associate you with college basketball. And I know you love the NBA. You call NBA games, and maybe we can have you on when the NBA playoffs are around, because I'd love to talk to you about some NBA basketball as well.
That's a deal. All right, brother.
Thanks, Jay. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Have a good day. The great Jay Bilas. I think he enjoyed the SKI, the Serial Killer Invitational. So I didn't even ask Jay who he thought was going to win it. Who cares? You can find out on ESPN, I'm sure. But yeah, this didn't go as well as planned. Like, it was supposed to be like, I didn't have a tomato, like a ketchup packet where I could like hit it. Like, you know how Dexter does that sometimes? Dexter hits and then it can kind of see what happened in there. That was just ketchup. I put it on my fingers and I went like this, and it just went, and it's like, so I had to like dab it up and everything. But I think do we have a graphic for that? Do we have our invitational up there? So we got the brackets out. We're gonna let you guys vote for it. And we'll do it today and tomorrow. And those are our brackets. Do we have any we got no blood on the bracket? Well, you guys already moved Jeffrey Dahmer. You already moved him into he already won. What the hell? Then nobody's even voted yet. We just decided we're going to move Jeffrey Dahmer up to the. So there you go. Can you make it bigger so people could see? I can see it, but I got to look at the TV. I can't see it on the screen. I'm not sure if anybody else can, but so people are going to be able to click on. How are they going to do this? I have no idea how people are going to do this. There's the bracket right there. How do people participate in our ridiculousness here? And don't discount Samuel Little. I know he's a 16. That guy got busy. And Zodiac, Jack the Ripper. We got Gary Ridgway, the Greenway Killer. Edmund Kemper, I think, was a co-ed killer. Robert Lee Yates, as I just mentioned, a 13. He was a grocery bag killer. John Wayne Gacy, killer clown. Richard Ramirez, a 3. He was a Night Stalker. Bianchi and Buono were the Hillside Stranglers. Eileen Warnos was a Damsel of Death. David Berkowitz, Son of Sam. Dennis Radar. I don't know why he disrespected Dennis Radar and didn't capitalize his R. I have no idea what you guys are doing. That's the total disrespect to BTK. Joseph D'Angelo Jr. was a Golden State Killer. Richard Chase, I just kind of threw him in there. I think that was the Sacramento Vampire. Never heard of him. That was an odd one. I never heard of him. And then Ted Bundy with the number 2 seed, and rightfully so. Again, the seeds I just kind of put them up there, basically on name value. All these people are ones. They're all ones. They're all horrible human beings. They're all evil, and if they all burned alive, I wouldn't shed a tear for all of them. Fuck y'all. They deserve what you get. It's like when people say, oh, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Yeah, if Ted Bundy was your worst enemy, I bet you would. Oh, yeah, I wouldn't wish that on that person. Yeah, why wouldn't you? And why wouldn't you wish it on him? So yeah, that's our bracket. Do we have any? So how are people going to go about voting on this? Do we know? Somebody said no. Manson didn't actually kill anybody. Manson had people kill on his behest, but he didn't actually kill any. I thought about him. he'd be in a different category. Like he'd be a cult leader, is what it would be. So yeah, I didn't put Charles. I didn't put Charlie on there. He is. I mean, there could have been. I could have. Like that was enough. I thought about getting cute and doing like a play-in game, like a play-in to get into the tournament. And I just that's that because I had like 3 or 4 more people here. And by the way, my daughter helped me with this. Am I saying that to give her credit, or am I saying that just so not everybody thinks I did this by myself and I'm a sick bastard? Which I am. I gotta admit, but my daughter's sick too. So there you go. Let me reiterate, my daughter Haley helped me with this, just in case you want to know. I had the Boston Strangler. He didn't make the list. You know what the Boston Strangler was? He was the first killer out. He was the first killer out. Didn't quite make it. I think who was the last killer in? Samuel Little. Had to get Samuel Little in. So we have. Let's see. Yeah, that was about it. I think we I'm trying to see. Yeah. So again, you guys have not answered me. How do we get people to participate in this? Does anybody hear me over there? Oh, they're going to put up a poll. Okay. I mean, keep me abreast of what's going on. So I guess the biggest upset may be, and again, you do your thing. You do whoever you want to. I was just about to go, what have him over him or her over him? Because then I got to get into the details, and it just, whatever. This was like, I didn't feel as bad doing this as I guess this was like a college or high school exercise that they did. And I'm not sure why they did it, but they did it. And I figured, well, if a school does it, I could do it, I guess. Not feel too bad. Maybe. I don't know. Still feels kind of, you know what though? I can say I've done it now. I've done it. And we're going to crown a champion here. We're going to crown a champion. So if you look up at the very top, we came up with we're right now with the Sinister 16. All right. And then we're going to have the Evil 8. And then we're going to have the Fiendish 4. And I'm going to be curious to see what upsets there are. Because I got to think. I mean, Dahmer, Bundy, Ramirez, Gacy. That's a strong top 4. But what's a tournament without upsets? There got to be an upset in there somewhere. I don't know where it's coming from, but there's got to be maybe Berkowitz, maybe Son of Sam sneaks in there, takes a spot. I don't know. And Joseph D'Angelo Jr., strong 10. Nobody even knew what he did for a long time. He didn't even get caught. He got caught DNA. I think it was his daughter that did one of those like DNA websites to find out about her family tree, and then somehow they get I don't know what it was, but anyway, I love that too. That's my favorite, when they catch you when you're like 78, you're retired, you haven't committed a crime for 30 years. All of a sudden they knock on your door. Pal, come with us. You're going to spend the rest of your life in prison. Rats. So we will do, maybe we'll do voting this week, or you can vote. Are we going to be able to vote all the way through? Are we just going to keep? Are we just going to keep it for the first round, or are people going to fill out their whole brackets? Because we want to do just first round this week, and then maybe do the Evil 8 next week, and then the Fiendish 4 the final week. We'll just kind of match the tourney a little bit. So we'll keep this. We'll string this out as long as we can. We're like one of those TV shows. Oh, it's the most dramatic episode. Next. You know it's not. Every episode's the most dramatic episode. Don't give me your dramatic episode bullshit. I don't want to hear that. Oh, and just in the middle of my rant, let me point this out in case anybody's missed this. Dodgers won 1-0. Baseball season's underway, by the way, if anybody cares. I know no one's happy the Dodgers won. Like, I don't really care, but baseball season started unbeknownst to me. I thought it started tonight at 3 a.m. It started last night at 3 a.m. over in I think Tokyo. Dodgers took down the Cubbies 4-1. So yeah, let's do that. Let's vote on let's advance the first round this week. Let's do that. Let's advance the first round this week. So you'll have 8 matchups. And then the next week we'll have 4 matchups, and then we'll do the final 2. So I'm interested to see who is going to advance. Now, what I would advise you to do, like, if you do with the NCAA tournament, you do a little studying. Get online, look them up, make an informed opinion. I wouldn't do it before I went to bed, but you want to find out who these people are, and you can watch the Invisible Monsters on Apple, which I think that one's Dahmer, Ridgway, Gacy, Bundy, and Dennis Rader. Those are the ones that there are 5 of them that they talk about in that show. So go at it, get after it. As far as the NCAA tournament, and if you got any questions about this too, feel free. You can text us. So as far as the regular tournament is concerned, again, don't take my word for it. I didn't watch a ton of hoops. I have watched Houston. I've obviously watched Arizona, watched St. Mary's, watched Duke, watched Michigan State a few times. But look, I'm going to take Yale over A&M. I've watched Yale once against Cornell this weekend. That's it. That's all. That lefty they got is pretty good. I like him. And again, A&M can't shoot. I've only seen them play. I'm just going by stats here. They can't shoot, but boy, they can rebound. They get a high percentage of their offensive or their clanks. So if Yale can rebound a little bit, like if they don't just get mauled on the glass, I think Yale will have a chance. Florida, I've seen play. Florida's good. Florida's really good. They're just complete. Hey, go ahead, let that animal in. She's been wanting in for like 20 minutes. Good grief. Like, I'm not letting you in during the interviews, okay? You can come in now while we're making our picks. Arizona is a homer pick. If you go Tolbert, that's a homer pick. Yeah, I know it's a homer pick. I went to Arizona. You think I'm going to pick Duke when I went to Arizona? That's not going to happen. Look, I think they're good enough. They're athletic enough. But again, when you don't shoot it, it's tough. You're going to run into a team that shoots it well. And yeah, they just don't shoot it well enough for me. If they shot a little bit better, I'd have no problem taking them. But we'll see. I'll absolutely. I'm going to be pulling for them. That's a given. Houston can shoot. Cryer can shoot. They had a couple other guys that can shoot, and they're junkyard dogs, man. They play their asses off, and they hit the glass. They play hard. So Houston was tough for me to get out of there, and I didn't. I got them through to the Final Four. So my Final Four is Michigan State, Florida, Arizona, Houston. Upset picks are Yale plus 7.5 over A&M. Maybe Maybe Oklahoma plus 4.5 over UConn. Liberty plus 7.5 over Oregon. Utah State plus 5.5 over UCLA. And High Point plus 8.5 over Purdue. I'm not going to go UC San Diego because I think it's a UC San Diego or it's UC San Diego. There's like 9 San Diego schools, but the Tritons. I want to take them, but everybody's taking them over Michigan. The one thing that worries me about Michigan is they turn the ball over at a pretty high percentage, and San Diego does not turn the ball over at a high percentage. So they're only getting 2.5, but I'd probably go Michigan there just because everyone and their mother is taking, like, they love San Diego. So I'll stay away from that one. I'll stay away from McNeese over Clemson. But I don't know if I'm going to take Oklahoma. I'm not positive I'll take High Point. The ones I will take. The 2 I'm going to take Yale and Utah State. Those I'm taking for sure. After that, maybe I'll give Liberty a run. Maybe High Point and Utah State, possibly. And I just checked like the line. I hate when people do this. They give out picks, even though I'm not a handicapper. But I still hate when people do it. They give out picks and they give out bogus lines. Like, hey, take this +6. Like, what's only 4.5? We do +6. What are you talking about? Right now, I want to make sure I get it right. High Point is +8. So they're not 8.5, they're 8. I think Utah State's still 5.5. And I think Liberty, let me look. I mean, I guess it's not that important. Yale is 7, so they're not even 7.5 anymore. They're 7. Utah State's 5. A couple 5.5s out there. So yeah, I mean, that's about what the line is. Last time I saw Oklahoma was 4.5. So anyway, those are my final 4 picks. I'm not going to do a bracket. Maybe next year I'll do that when we get everything all set up and it's easier for us to do a bracket. We could do a contest. And the winner of the bracket will, I don't know, we'll come up with some sort of prize or something for somebody. We already got people voting? Do we? We got people voting. What are the early returns? Do we have early returns on there? Let's see. Oh, Zodiac. I figured Zodiac could be like a sentimental pick, right? From the Bay Area. You know, people still kind of like Zodiac. He's our serial killer. He's our guy. And we're going to be pulling. We'll be pulling for him. I don't know that. Do we have any other votes? I don't know if we have any other votes up yet, but it looked like Zodiac was 66% at this point. That could be two to 1 for all I know. But hey, invite people in. The more votes, the better. We want to get as many votes as possible. We want to make this thing legit. If we're not going to, this is not something we'll do every year. You can't do it every year. You're going to have the same participants every single year. Yeah, 3 votes. We got 3 votes, 2 for Edmund Kemper. That's a big, he's 6'9" too. That's a tough one. Zodiac, 66%. Dahmer's 30 votes, 29 votes for Dahmer. Samuel Little. He's just taking it on the chin. You know what he's about to become? Stu. That's what he's about to become. I'm sorry. Like it now, that was poor taste. So yeah, we got votes coming in, and again, get people, tell people, and say, hey, come on in. You don't even have to like and subscribe. Just come on in and play our stupid serial killer invitational. We want to see it. That'd be awesome if we get like 1,000 votes on this thing. It'd be sick, but that's what I'm interested in. I like it for its sickness. Like, how sick was that? We got 1,000 votes for our serial killer. Oh man, FBI have a field day with that. Like, I wonder if the FBI was like, I was in some database last night as I'm looking up, like, over and over and over again, American serial killers, most notorious serial killer brackets, serial killer this. I'm like, guys, this is going into like, if this is going into some like database, they're probably like, what's up with this dude? This dude. And I thought, there's way more sick people out there than me. I'm not even worried about it. I'm good. I should be good to go. So anywho, yeah, vote early, vote often. And again, have your mom play. Your mom will like this game. I mean, I'm sure she will. I'm going to see if my mom will vote. Maybe not, but maybe I might see if she'll vote. I don't know if she'll know how, but I'll have my brother show her. You know what my mom will say? If my mom were to see this, she'll just look at me and she'll go, "No, Tommy." But she always does when I do something that's maybe not quite tasteful. You know, I would put that in this category. I would put this in the not quite tasteful category. That's putting it mildly. So she would look at me and go, "Tommy," one of those, like, I still love you, but that's disgusting. I got those looks a lot. I got the eye rolls. I got the Tommy or no Tommy, stuff like that. So anywho, what else I want to get into today? Oh, I did want to get into this because this is something that I mention a lot when I'm doing the Warrior games. And this is something I may mention throughout the course of these shows, is that everyone that plays professional sports is everyone that plays in the NBA is an NBA player. Sounds stupid, right? Everyone that plays in the NFL is an NFL player. Everyone that plays Major League Baseball's a professional baseball player. And I get that's like the stupidest thing ever, right? Of course they are. Of course they are. But I mentioned that in that you can get beat by anybody. Why can you get beat by anybody? Because they're pro players too. And like last night, I thought Denver was like kind of packing it in. I was like, oh, man. Like, no Murray, no Jokic. Warriors been playing great. Warriors should have. As soon as it came out of my mouth, I should have. I just knew it. I knew it. Look what happened last night. I mean, those guys are champions too. They got champions on that team. Porter Jr. and Gordon. And Gordon was phenomenal last night. Aaron Gordon was incredible. Awesome. Local kid, bear down. I mean, I love the way he plays. He's the guy you want on your team. But they went out and played their ass off. Westbrook had a great game, didn't shoot well, but double-digit assists, double-digit rebounds. He was fantastic. Here's the thing. Not only did it happen to them, it happened to Minnesota. Indiana went into Minnesota and beat Minnesota. No Halliburton. No Siakam. I don't think Turner was playing. Like, they're missing damn near everybody. And they get pushed to overtime, and Obi Toppin hits like 4 threes, I think it was, in overtime, and they beat him in Minnesota. Like, both those teams are thinking, oh my gosh, how'd that happen? And then in Houston, they're playing the 76ers, who have nobody. Embiid out, Maxey out, George out. They were 17-point underdogs in that game. They were up 21 at half. Houston did come back, took them to overtime, and then beat them. They're down like 6 with 30 seconds left. So my point is, 17-point underdog takes Houston to overtime, loses. Minnesota was like a 10.5-point favorite. They lose. Warriors, 8.5-point favorite. They lose. That was like exhibit A, why I say what I say. You can get beat, even if you think you can't get beat, because those guys are NBA players. You may not have heard of them. They may not have had much of a chance or a lot of time on the court, but they're there for a reason. Are they as good as the starters? Of course they're not, or they'd be playing. But they're better than probably 0.005% of the population, and probably better than 0.005% of all basketball players. Maybe more of the population. Yeah, of course they are. But realize how good they are, because we get into too much. Fans do this. Oh, they suck. Oh, they're terrible. Oh, that guy stinks. Nobody stinks at that level. Nobody. They're not as good as the people that are obviously better than them or the best. They're not. But nobody stinks. Nobody's terrible. So when you think, oh, they can't win, trust me, they can win. They absolutely can win. And last night was a good reminder for everybody, including myself. Because, again, I was the one I thought, oh, the Warriors have been playing great basketball. Depleted Nugget team? Sure. Nuggets are champions. They got some championship blood running through that organization. They just lost to the Wizards at home. That hurts. That's got to hurt. So they always remind yourself that everybody that plays is good. Everybody that plays is good. So you can say they suck, whatever, but they don't. Trust me. All right, let's take a. We got any comments we want to throw up there before we get out of here? I love the fact the Dahmer got 30 votes. You guys are sick.
Polls are on X and YouTube now.
Oh, the polls are on X and YouTube. So go ahead on X, go ahead on YouTube, and we're rolling right now. Again, tell your friends. I want to see how many votes we can get. I really do. I want to see if we can get 1,000 votes on one of these. That would be incredible. It would just show I'm not the only sick one. Let me get the early returns. We got Jeffrey Dahmer at 86.3%. Looks like Dahmer is that's like a first quarter. Zodiac Killer 72.4. Oh, that's a close one. Ridgway and Kemper. Really close right now. 55-6, 44-4. I like that. I figured that'd be a tight one. What else do we got? We have Robert Lee Yates. Yeah, John Wayne Gacy's hammering him. He's going to put Robert Lee Yates in a crawl space. Things over. Richard Ramirez, Bianchi, and Buona. Okay, yeah, Hillside Stranglers. And Warnos Berkowitz, I thought would be a tight one too. Yes, 53-3 and 46-7. Nice. BTK over the Golden State. Oh, that's 50-50. Oh, he only got 4 votes. So get him up there. And only 9 votes for Ted Bundy. I'm surprised. That looks like it could be, because nobody knows who Richard Chase is, right? No one knows. No, he's not. He doesn't run Chase Center. He's not like they didn't name Chase Center after him. He is the vampire of Sacramento, I believe. So, or the Sacramento vampire. So there you go. Yeah. Look, again, like, subscribe. That's great. What I really want is you guys to recruit people, get people to vote on this. Just get people to. I want to see this. I want to see 1,000 votes on this. I want to know how many sick people are out there. That'd be incredible to have our SKI blow up serial killer invitational. Unfortunately, like I said, we can't do it every year because we're gonna have the same people every single year. We don't have any new people. Let's hope we don't have new people. We don't want to have another one next year. We don't have new participants in this. I hope we don't have another one next year. If we do, that means something's gone terribly wrong on planet Earth. So if you get any texts or comments you want to throw up there, go ahead and throw them up there. Am I supposed to read the ones on the right? Are you going to highlight them for me and make them bigger? Oh, there they are. But it's a smaller screen. I still got the said, I hope everyone picks an upset. Chalk is boring. I want to see a Cinderella killer making a run. I don't know who that is. That's up to you guys. Look, I said it. I set the stage. Now it's up to you guys. It's up to you, my children. Go out there. Speak the gospel of the Serial Killer Invitational. What kind of sponsor could we get for this? How about Ginsu? Ginsu would be a good sponsor. I like that. Is there a store named Ligature RS? I don't think there is. He said, "Oh, you are on the list now." I'm on the. I'm not on the list. What are you talking about? I'm not a serial killer. I'm just bringing him to you. Haze IPA. Never heard of a Haze IPA. Unless that's Chase IPA. I don't know. Never heard of that one. You guys drinking already? It's freaking Tuesday. It's early. Easy. At least wait till tomorrow. I'll have a beer with you tomorrow. Storm said I didn't include the creepiest serial killer. Who's that? Robert Picton. Who's Robert Picton? I don't even know who Robert Picton is. You're right. I might have overlooked him. Look, I'm sorry. If I missed somebody, I apologize. Luke, come here. Okay, come here. Luke, we're trying to look up serial killers. Okay, can you stop? Is that who it is? No. Was it Pinkton? Picton. Okay, Pick.
Yeah.
Picton. Okay. Oh, it says Canadian serial killer. That's why I never heard of him. Oh, the pig farmer killer. Oh God, that guy is creepy. That's a good call. Oh God, you're right. I blew this one. After he dropped out of school, he left a butcher's apprenticeship to begin working full time at his family's pig farm. Holy cow! Wow. He only got convicted of second-degree murder, though. 6 convicted, 21 charged, 4 suspected, 49 confessed. I got to read up on him. Okay. Good call. Well done. I'm glad. That's my buddy Steve. Lizzie Borden. Remember her with the axe? Lizzie Borden gave her husband 40 whacks or whatever. However the story goes. Not sure. Liz, I think Elizabeth Montgomery played Lizzie Borden in the in one of those TV specials. Bewitched. Elizabeth Montgomery. I think she played Lizzie Borden. My mom wouldn't let me watch that one. She said, "No, that's too much for you." Who would have known? Who would have known 50 years later I'd be doing a complete invitational with serial killers? I think Lizzie Borden only killed like 1 or 2 people, though. I'm not sure if I could put her on the list. But the pig farmer dude, that's interesting. I love that you people are like actually looking up new people. Like, Tom, you didn't come up with enough. Ed Gein. I looked. He was one that I had that I left. I could only put so many people on. Okay, I was kind of stuck at 16 because I couldn't get to 32. 32 just seemed too much. Like I be honest with you, I didn't want to do 32. I was like, I got to start looking at more serial killers. We got 32. No, so I called it at 16. But yet Ed Gein is the butcher of Plainfield, and I did look at him, and I was going to put him on, but again, you know me, I'm Mr. DEI. I wanted to get Little in. I wanted to get Warnos in. I wanted to get Berkowitz in. And then Ramirez, of course, he was a 3. He's strong. Again, you go pentagram on the hand. Remember when that dude got married in prison? Like, who's more mentally unstable? Him or the person that marries him when he's in prison, knowing full well what he did? Like, obviously, what he did is way worse. No one would dispute that. But, whew, yeah, I don't want to see what's going on inside someone's head. And then, look, she's not the only one. A lot of these, you get married in prison. Oh, man, I find the way you. No, I'm not even gonna say that. I'm not gonna keep moving, keep sticking, and keep moving. All right, we got any more people, or are we good? Because we can pick this up. This is gonna go again. You know what I want. You know that's all I want. Just tell a friend. They'll tell 2 people, and then they'll tell 2 people to be like the Brett commercial, and so on and so on and so on. And then we can have like again, I want 1,000 votes on this thing. I want it to be like bigger than a damn Niner poll, or a who should be the 3rd starter for the Giants poll, or they just bang this thing, get this thing up there. I want to see these matchups become an inspiration for other. Well, not an inspiration for other people to go out there and. But I do want. I would love to see like the more votes we get, the more reflection of like who the true winner should be. And I think we have like we some of them have like 20 and 30. Where's Dahmer at now as far as the votes? Dahmer has 60. I don't know why Dahmer has so many votes. Dahmer's like completely running away with it, right? Like I said, Dahmer's like crushing it. Who else do we have? We have Bundy, but he only has 10 votes. That's 10. That's 10-0. That's a 10-0 run for Bundy out of the gate. Richard Ramirez, how many votes does he have? He has 9. So that 9 votes. 9. We got a bunch with 9. I don't know why Dahmer's so damn popular with you people. That worries me a little bit. That Dahmer has like 30 votes. I mean, but we're gonna have to add up all the votes because it is on different platforms. Do we have this on? Is this on Instagram as well? Or can you put a poll on Instagram? I know you can put boobs on Instagram, but I don't know if you can put a poll on Instagram. I didn't know that I'd do very. I didn't feel like Instagram was like we're on it, but I just felt like my breasts weren't big enough. Like for Instagram, like I needed anyway. Moving on. So yeah, vote early, vote often. Tell a friend. See if you can get your mom to vote on this. In fact, bring it up to your mom, and you can tell me tomorrow how she reacted. Go, Mom. Just ask her the question that I asked Jay. Mom, I got a tough one. I'm filling out my bracket here. Who do you like? Mom, who do you like? Zodiac or Jack the Ripper? Who would you have moving on? And she'll go, what? I would say like go Dennis Rader, but you gotta give your mom somebody she's gonna know. And those are 2 that everybody knows. Everybody knows Zodiac, everybody knows Jack the Ripper. I'm not even sure they belong on this list as far as like their accomplishments, so to speak. But they didn't get caught. It's got to count for something. And everybody knows who they are, and there's movies made about them. And when there's a movie made about you, then you've done something. You've left your mark. So, all right, we're gonna get on out of here. Everybody enjoy their Tuesday. Remember baseball tonight at 3:15. In case you're curious, I'm not. I'm gonna wait for the real season to start, which I think is next week. It starts. So I don't even think Mookie and Freeman played last night. I don't know if they're hurt or they just said, nah, we just, because it's such a funky thing, right? Spring training, and then you got to ramp it up for the real thing, and then ramp it back down. And so they want to know where they send their paper ballots for the, look, I wouldn't sign anything. I wouldn't want a paper trail, so to speak, but there are no paper ballots because I'm worried about Chads. I don't want to do a recount on this. I just want it to be like one time, and we're good to go. It's really going to be a personal preference in the Elite Eight. Which murder style do you line with? So to each their own. How do you go about, like, again, these are all awful people, but how do you go about deciding who you want to advance? And then ultimately, in a couple of weeks, we'll crown the champion. We'll crown the champion of the first, and by the way, of the only SKI. SKI. I'll come up with something next year. I got a whole year to think about it. Maybe we can go mass murders. Yeah, we go. Oh yeah, you kidding me? Hitler, Stalin. I mean, we got Pol Pot. You throw him in there. Mao. Yeah, we got. I mean, man, we're gonna run out of that. We're gonna run out, or they'll run us out, one or the other. But all right, we're gonna get out of here. We'll be back tomorrow. I think we're gonna do. What do we got tomorrow? Tommy Lloyd, and just kind of more of this tomfoolery. But Tommy Lloyd, the head coach of the Arizona Wildcats, then we'll be off Thursday. We're gonna be off Friday. We're not sure exactly. Next week, we're gonna get you ready for baseball. We're hoping to have Dave Fleming on next week, Jeremy Affelt on next week. Maybe I'll give some other people a call. We'll try to get you ready for the baseball season, as baseball will be on the precipice, and we'll probably do shows early next week as well, because I'm going to be in Tucson for some family business next weekend. So, all right. No, don't. I think it's not. I don't know who that was. It's Stalin, Hitler, Mussolini, number one. No, we're not going to go into that. We got our hands full with this. Okay, let's wait on the mass, the genocidal. Let's give it a year. Okay, I don't get into that. I don't need to get into that right now. We got our hands full with this. Yeah, Genghis Khan. I mean, let's just worry about this. We got the SKI. We could have the MKI next year, but we got a whole year. Okay, let's enjoy this one. Okay, stop looking ahead to next the madness. Let's enjoy this one first. Let's see how it works out. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see who gets out of the satanical 16 and into the evil 8. And again, we're gonna keep this up until next week. So we'll keep it up for what's our schedule like? Can we keep it up as long as we want, or do polls come down at some point? Do they make you take it down, or do we decide when it expires?
6 days.
6 days. All right. Well, let's leave it up till Sunday, because then Monday we'll have a winner, and then we'll come back, and next week we'll break down the. Not that I need to break them down. I already broke them down for you. Go on YouTube, do your research. You break them down. I don't know how much more I can break them down. Maybe I'll try to separate them as they separated their victims from their heads. But I'll try anyway. I'm out of here. Now I'm just getting redundant. All right, everybody, have a great Tuesday. Thank you very much to Jay Bilas for joining us. I think he enjoyed the SKI. I got to be honest with you. I think he got a big kick out of that. So tomorrow, Tommy Lloyd, the head coach of the University of Arizona Wildfoolery, and enjoy we'll have a beer tomorrow. I'm not having a beer on Tuesday. Tuesday it's early. I got a game tonight too, by the way. And go, hey, how you doing? Good to see you. No, but tomorrow I'll have a beer with you. We'll get together around noon, have a beer, get ourselves ready for the madness, and then we can really start partying and hanging out once Thursday hits. So everybody have a great Tuesday. See ya.